Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 13, The Appearance of Lord Varāha. So, we have seen that Lord Varāha Dev, he took earth very easily on his tusk, got out of the water, and he appeared very splendid, while his anger simultaneously horrifying the non-devotees, the demons, and pleasing his great devotees. So, we come to text 32. जघानरन्धानमसह्य विक्रमम् सलीलयेभं मृगराडिवाम्भसि तद्रक्तपङ्काङ्कितगण्डतुण्डो यथा गजेन्द्रो जगतिं विविन्दन्. Translation.
Thereupon Lord Boar killed the demon within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The cheeks and tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon, just as an elephant becomes radish from digging in the purple earth.
So this is how the demon was killed by the Supreme Lord, and there is a Asayya Vikramam. Okay. So this word is very beautiful here. Asayya Vikramam means sometimes the pastimes of the Lord are intolerable. We're not able to bear the pastimes of the Lord. So Asayya Vikramam. Asayya ho gaya Vikramam. So these are the, Bhayanak pastime. Ugra Rasa is being displayed here. Text 33. तमालनीलं सितदन्तकोट्या क्ष्मामुक्षिप्तन्तं गजलीलयाङ्ग प्रद्यायबद्धाञ्चलयोनुवाकैर्विरिञ्चिमुख्याम् उपतस्थिरूरिशम्. Translation.
Translation. Then the Lord, playing like an elephant, suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed a bluish complexion like that of a tamala tree, and thus the sages, headed by Brahma, could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisance unto the Lord. Hare Krishna.
After killing the demon, the Lord played just like the elephant, Gajalilayangam, and then he suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed the bluish complexion like that of the tamara tree. Now look at the color combinations here. Beautiful, beautiful. The Varaha Dev here is the Shveta Varaha. Later we are going to see the Varaha. So Shveta Varaha is there. On the Asayya Vikramam, on his face, on the tongue and the cheeks, they were the blood, right? So there was a red blood on the tongue and the cheek. And then the beautiful earth was there on the white tusk. And then the form of the Lord he assumed the Tamalavarna form of the Lord. So one can see the beautiful, colorful pastime of the Lord here, all colors being displayed. Viranchi Mukhyam, headed by great personality Brahma, Virinchi, and other great personalities, they realize he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Standing in front of them, they began to offer their prayers. Text 34. Rishya Urchuhu Jitam Jitam Te Jitayagya Bhavana Traim Tvanum Swam Paridhunvate Namaha Yadromagarteshu Nililya Puradvais Tasmain Namakarana Sukarayate. Translation.
All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. Purport: the Lord can assume any form he likes, and in all circumstances, he is the cause of all causes. Since his birth is transcendental, he is always Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he is in the casual ocean in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes generate from the holes of his bodily hairs, and thus his transcendental body is the Vedas personified. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and he is the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the Supreme Lord because of his assuming of the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary system.
Rishya Urchu, the great sages, they began to offer their respects. Jitam Jitam Te Ajita Yagya Bhavana. All glories, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices. Ajita, you are unconquerable. Yagya Bhavana, one who is understood by the performance of sacrifice. Our mission's name is International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Antarashtriya Krishna Bhavana Amrit Sangha. Okay, so very close. Yagya Bhavana, we are Krishna Bhavana. One is understood by the performance of the sacrifices. Your form is the personified Vedas. In the hairs of your body or the oceans are submerged. And now you have, for a specific reason, to uplift the earth, you have assumed the form of a boar. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, the Lord can assume any form as he likes. But in all these different forms, the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is as great as Mahavishnu, who is lying on the Karana Dakshayi Vishnu, causal ocean. Right? And by his breathing in and out, innumerable universes are being generated there. And there is no difference in the form of Lord Mahavishnu, which is very gigantic form and which is awe-inspiring form, and the form of the Shukara Rupa, Sukara, Karana Sukarayate. Because, so Prabhupada says here, one should never misunderstand the form of the Lord other than he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? And this is how Viranchi Mukhyam, Brahmaji and other great sages began to offer prayers to Supreme Lord. Text 35. Rupam tavaitan dushkratatmanam durdarshanam deva yadva atmakam chandamsi yasyatvachi bahir aromas swajam drishistvagriyangri chaturhotram. Translation.
O Lord, your form is worshipable by performances of sacrifice, but souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri, and others are in the touch of your skin. In your bodily hairs is the kusha grass. In your eyes is the clarified butter, and in your forelegs are the 4 kinds of fruitive activities. Perfect. There is a class of miscreants who are known in the words of Bhagavad Gita as Vedavadi or so-called strict followers of the Vedas. They do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of the Lord's incarnation as a worshipable hog? They described worship. They described worship of the different forms or incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. In the estimation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, these men are miscreants, and in Bhagavad Gita 7.15, they are called not only miscreants but also fools and the lowest of mankind. And it is said that their knowledge has been plundered by illusion due to their atheistic temperament. For such condemned persons, the Lord's incarnation as the gigantic hog is invisible. These strict followers of the Vedas who despise the eternal forms of the Lord may know from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that such incarnations are personified forms of the Vedas. Lord Boar's skin, his eyes, and his bodily hair holes are all described here as different parts of the Vedas. He is therefore the personified form of the Vedic hymns and specifically the Gayatri Mantra.
The sages began to glorify. O Lord, your form is worshipable by the performance of the sacrifice. But the souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. And now here, different parts of the their Lord's boar skin, his eyes, his bodily hair holes are all described here as different parts of the Vedas. How? Your bodily hairs is the kusha grass, your eyes is the clarified butter, and your 4 legs are the 4 different kinds of fruitive activities in this way. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada focuses the purport on this personality is called as Vedavadarata Partha, Nanyatas. So Vedavadarata means Vedavad. They are always interested in, they are so-called strict followers of the Vedas, but they have missed the conclusion of the Vedas. Right. And by missing the conclusion of the Vedas, they are Rataha, they are very attached to doing the Vedavad. They are always attached to doing, they are called as Vedavadi. And they do not believe in an incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of the Sukara Karanayati, they will not believe in any incarnation of the Lord. And we can very beautifully see these people, present in even Krishna Lila also later, when these are the Brahmanas who are engaged in performance of the sacrifice. And on the doorsteps, they have Krishna and Balaram along with so many Gopas standing. They are neglecting Krishna, they are neglecting Balaramji, and they are performing sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord who is standing at their door ends. Right. But the wives of these Brahmanas, Dvijapatnis, they were great devotees, and they immediately, carry all the Lord is hungry in his pastime. They carry all the paraphernalia, eatables, and these Vedavadis, they try to stop their wives, their daughters, their wives from going, and they said that if you go, we will never take you back. And they are, strongly condemned like this. And this beautiful verse comes. So these are the Vedavadarataha. They are simply engaged in, and they completely miss out. Prabhupada says, and when their foolishness crosses the limits, they become Naradhamaha. Mayaya aparita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. Namam dushkrutino mood. So such fools, although they have Vedas in their hands, they still remain fool and do not surrender unto the Supreme Lord. Namam dushkrutino. And this word dushkritam is coming here. And Prabhupada quotes the same dushkrutina. Prapadyante, they do not surrender unto the Supreme Lord. And therefore, here the great sages, for the benefit of such Vedavadis, they are glorifying the form of the Lord is non-different than the personified Vedas. Text 36. Sraktunda asit struva ishanasayo ridodare chamasa karnarandrir prashitramasye grasane grahastute yachcha avaranam yacharvanam te bhagavan agnihotram. Translation.
O Lord, your tongue.
Go ahead, Mataji.
O Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostril is another plate of sacrifice. In your belly is the eating place of sacrifice, and another plate of sacrifice is the holes of your ears. In your mouth is the Brahma plate of sacrifice. In your throat is the plate of sacrifice known as Soma, and whatever you chew is known as Agnihotra. Purport: the Vedavadis say that there is nothing more than the Vedas and the performances of sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. They have recently made a rule in their group to formally observe daily sacrifice. They simply ignite a small fire and offer something whimsically, but they do not know, but they do not strictly follow the sacrificial rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas. It is understood that by regulation there are different plates of sacrifice required, such as Shrak, Shruva, Baharihis, Chaturhotra, Ida, Chamasa, Prasitra, Graha, and Agnihotra. One cannot achieve the result of sacrifice unless one observes the strict regulations. In this age, there is practically no facility for performing sacrifices in strict discipline. Therefore, in this age of Kali, there is a stricture regarding such sacrifices. It is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtana Yajña and nothing more. The incarnation of the Supreme Lord is Yagneshvara, and unless one has respect for the incarnation of the Lord, he cannot perfectly perform sacrifice. In other words, taking shelter of the Lord and rendering service unto him is the factual performance of all sacrifices, as explained herein. Different plates of sacrifice correspond to the different parts of the body of the Lord's incarnation. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11th canto, it is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtana Yajña to please the Lord's incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This should be rigidly followed in order to achieve the result of Yajña performance. Hare Krishna.
The sages further glorify, O Lord, your tongue, your nostrils, they are the plates of the sacrifice. Your belly and your ear holes, they are another plates of the sacrifice. Your mouth is Brahma, the plate of sacrifice. Your throat is also the plate of sacrifice known as Soma. And whatever you chew is known as Agnihotra. So in the previous verse, it is a description of the Chaturhotra. So Chaturhotra is the 4 kinds of creative activities. And in this verse, there is a description of Agnihotra. So Agnihotra is Agni, Hotra means you're eating through your sacrificial fire, that is called as Agnihotra. Right. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Vedavadis, Vedavadarata Partha, these are simply interested. They know, they think that there is nothing more than the Vedas and you have to keep on performing sacrifice. Bas. And Prabhupada says, recently, these people have invented a new method called as daily Agnihotra. Now, when Prabhupada says recently, these books are written 50 years back. So this Agnihotra is almost like, this book is written in 1972. So 50 years, you can approximately 52 years. They have recently made a rule that their group will formally observe daily sacrifice. And what is the sacrifice? They would ignite a small fire and keep on adding something whimsically, Prabhupada says there. And people feel, jitna dhua, utna their progress is there. Okay. Why? Because, so this is not to criticize anything, but the point is, to perform a particular sacrifice, there are huge rules and regulations, right? You cannot be living in a city, you cannot be having unrestricted life of sense gratification, and in the morning you just, make some dua and add something there and think that you are following Vedas. No, if you are following the Vedas, you have to follow the conclusion of the Veda. And what is the recommendation of the Vedas for this Kali Yuga? So Prabhupada says there are different parts, different plates of sacrifices, and one cannot achieve the result of sacrifice unless one observes with strict regulation. It is not like devotional service where, there is Bhavagrahi Janardhan and the Supreme Lord is looking forward eagerly to award the credits. When it comes to the sacrifice, when it comes to the karma kanda, it is very, very strict in nature. Later we'll see the story of King Nriga, where he was such a karma kandi person, and accidentally there was this one small discrepancy, and he had to take a birth as a lizard, later to be delivered by the Supreme Lord. So when you say Veda, when you say sacrifice, yajña, these are very, very stringent in nature. And in Kali Yuga, it is impossible to do. We have seen some yajña going on, and the Brahmanas, of course, all glories to Brahmanas. But these yajñic Brahmanas, they take a cigarette break in between. Can you believe this? They will take a break, cigarette break. And if you go to Kashmir and other side, and they will take a beer break in between the yajña, so that they will just warm up themselves. This is the level of stupidity which is going on. One place, Vivaha yajña was, Vivaha is samskar was going on, and the person they are chanting, the Purohit, he was chanting the Antya Samskar mantras. And everybody was thinking some Sanskrit is going on here and there. And one person was knowledgeable and he said, "Hey, you are chanting." And he told the the person there in charge that he's chanting some another mantras. And he said, "Chhod do na yaar, koi to Sanskrit chal raha hai, kuch to mantra chal raha hai." Right? So, yajña is extremely strict. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, there is a recommendation of another yajña. Which is that yajña? Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Krishnam, Sangopangastra Parshadam, Yagyai, Sankirtana Prayai, Yajantihi Sumedasaha. That the intelligent people in Kali Yuga, they will not waste their life with other yajñas. They will focus on the yajña which is recommended by the Yajñeshwara, the Supreme Lord who appears in the form which is Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Akrishnam, who is constantly singing the names of Krishna. Krishna Varnam. Varna here doesn't refer to bodily kanti. That is not the Varna. Here Varna refers to Varnamala. So he's constantly chanting the Krishna's name. Krishna Varnam. Tvisha Akrishnam. But his form will be Akrishnam. He will be non-blackish form. That is Gaura form. Sango Pangastra Parshadam. He will appear with his Anga, Upanga, his Astra, and everything he will come. And he will inaugurate Yagyai Sankirtana Praya. He will inaugurate the Sankirtan Yagya, Yajantihi Sumedasaha. And the intelligent people, like all of you, will participate in this Sankirtan Yagya. So, one should not be misled by the Vedavadis and, perform some kind of a Yagya here and there. The real Yagya in Kali Yuga is Sankirtana Yagya, which is inaugurated by the incarnation of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we should rigidly follow, Prabhupada says, in order to get the result of yajña performance. And this is corroborated in many other places. Krite yadhyayato Vishnum, Tretayam yajato makai, Dvapare paricharyayam, Kalautad hari kirtanat. So there is the support to this statement in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and appearance of the Supreme Lord as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inaugurate the Sankirtana Yajña. Text 37. Dikshānujanmopasadassirodharam tvam prayaniyod niyadramstraha jivva pravargas tavashirshakam krato satyavasatyam chitayo savohite. Translation.
Moreover, O Lord, the reputation of your appearance is the desire for all kinds of initiation. Your neck is the place for 3 desires, and your tusks are the result of initiation and the end of all dead desires. Your tongue is the prior activities of initiation. Your head is the fire without sacrifice, as well as the fire of worship, and your living forces are the aggregate of all the desires.
Very similar verse here in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmahotam. There is a verse about how everything related to the Supreme Lord is Brahman. And here the sages are praying the same way. Moreover, Lord, the reputation of your appearance is the desire for all kinds of initiation. Right. So Three kinds of desires are mentioned here: relationship, activities, and ultimate goal. Okay, that is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. These are the three kinds of desires. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. So entire Vedas, they are about these three things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. So these are the three kinds of desires. Your tusks are the result of initiation and end of all the desires. Okay. So here the word is Udayaniya. Udayaniya is the last rites of the desires. Tava Shiksham. Okay. Anchintyaha, aggregate of all desires. Srila Prabhupada will be explaining this in the next purport, that how there are 7 kinds of routine yajñas and other things. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, a small question.
Yeah.
So, in the scriptures, we always hear this Tamala Varnam regarding the color of the Lord. So, can you explain, like what kind of color? And you were here telling regarding the Lord Varāha. So, his body was white, Sveta Varāha, while the appearance was Tamala Varna. So, actually, I don't understand the meaning, actual physical meaning of this Tamala Varna.
Prabhupada says this in the, if you see the word-to-word translation, we always miss this word-to-word translation. So word-to-word translation is very, very beautiful. Prabhupada writes, Tamala Varanam. So this is the form of the Lord, which is, Tamala Varanam. So form of the Tamala tree. Okay. So Krishna's bodily hue is Tamal. Therefore, the one name of Krishna is Tamal Krishna. Right. We have Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So this is the Tamala Varana. It takes 33. Right. So here you can see in the translation, you can see Tamala, a blue tree named as Tamala. So Tamal trees and Kadamba trees, they are the prerogative of Vrindavan. Very, very specific trees. And one can see Tamal tree in Vrindavan. So that is the form of the Lord. That is the color, the hue of the Lord's form, color. Okay. Another is Ghanashyama. Ghanashyama is, that is the Shama Varana of the Ghana. Ghana means, the cloud with water, that is called as Ghana. So, and when it is having a particular color, that is the Krishna's, very, very specific color. So Varahadev appeared in this form. So he is Shveta Varaha, but he is, he is having the bluish hue. Hue means, how you can translate the hue means a kind of, it is not that, sometimes when we say Lord is blue means, people will just, they will just paint the devotee in that blue color. It is not like that. So some of the pictures that, Srila Prabhupada and others, his disciples have drawn, they have very beautifully shown this Tamala Varanam. Okay. So this is what the Tamala Varanam of the Lord. If you can see, here, not in this, maybe small books we have to see, but there is a beautiful picture of, the Varahadev also. Now here, this book doesn't have the picture. So we'll try to get the picture. Okay.
So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, here is mention is 34 verse. The Gayatri Vedavad is also says Gayatri Mantra. We also says after second initiation Gayatri Mantra. So what is the difference about that, Prabhuji?
Difference is they miss the goal. See, Veda means, the white will be Veda. The Dhimahi word is there. So that is the Gayatri Bij. And they also will be chanting Gayatri Mantra, the Vedavadis. And the devotees also chant Gayatri Mantra. But the difference is, the Vedavadis, they completely miss out on the Supreme Lord. They think that chanting Gayatri itself is reading Vedas, doing sacrifice. And the classic example is this Dvija Brahmanas in Vrindavan, where the Supreme Lord is standing at their doorstep and they are busy just creating dua in the house and chanting some mantra, which is just goes meaningless, right? You are chanting, you are performing the sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord, who is Yajña Bhavana, and the same Yajña Purusha is standing at your doorstep, and they are simply happy chanting the mantra, right? So, therefore, chanting of Vedavadis is not considered to be very fruitful from the ultimate sense. They will get their destination. They are interested in, they are interested more in Tetvam Bhukta Swargalokam Vishalam. They are interested in huge sense gratification available in Swargaloka. And when the punya is over, they will again come back. Again, they will perform sacrifice. Again, go to Swarga. It's just like somebody, who works extremely hard and achieves a particular target, goes to Bali or some Indonesia, enjoy life there 3-4 days. And when the LTC is over, again he will come back, again work hard like a donkey, again achieve the next goal. And people will be keeping that dangling, if you achieve this much of sales, you will get, Japan trip. If you achieve even bigger sales, you will get this trip, that trip. This is just to make people work very hard and just enjoy their life. So Vedavadis, these are the people with the Vedic context. Instead of hard work, they will be doing sacrifice, go to the Swargaloka, enjoy life. When the Punya, Kshine Punya Martyalokam Vishanti, come back, again perform sacrifice. And part of the sacrifice, part of the reading of the Vedas is Gayatri Mantra. So that's how their life is, simply goes on. Brahmati Upariyada, right?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada.